I came off the bandstand, I'm following the band over to where they're gonna sit, and I feel somebody from behind me come up and put their arm around my shoulder. And I don't know anybody in this place, and I see the whole band in front of me, so I'm like turning around trying to see who's touching me. Do I need to get ready?
Hey everybody, I'm Eduardo, senior writer and editor for Fire. I have the honor today of speaking with my hero, Daryl Davis. Daryl, thank you for joining us. We're in Memphis. We got to talk about music. You're a musician.
Absolutely.
If I remember correctly, your first encounter with the Klansmen was the result of you playing music.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that, and tell us about why music is such an important aspect of what you do and free expression in general.
At the age of 10, I formed a question in my mind, which was, how can you hate me when you don't even know me? And for the next 55 years, I'm 65 now, I've been looking for the answer to that question. So who better to ask that question of than someone who would go so far as to join an organization that has over 100-year history of practicing hating people who don't look like them, who don't believe as they believe. Country music had made a resurgence. Country music had never gone away, but it had fallen off the charts. A movie came out called Urban Cowboy with John Travolta, a lot of country music, Mechanical Bull, all these line dances. Every club, every bar changed its format from R&B, top 40 disco to country because of the movie. And so, if you want to work full-time in the music industry, which is what I was doing, you got to play what people want to hear. So I joined a country band. It was very easy for me to play. And I was the only black guy in the band, and usually the only black guy in many places where we would play. The band was pretty well established around the Maryland area. And they had played a place in a town called Frederick, Maryland, which is about an hour and 20 minutes north of Washington, D.C., called the Silver Dollar Lounge. The Silver Dollar Lounge had a reputation that blacks were not welcome there. And when you go somewhere where you're not welcome and alcohol is served, it's not a good combination. Here I am in the Silver Dollar Lounge, people looking at me. But anyway, we played and everybody danced, had a good time. And on our first break, I came off the bandstand, I'm following the band over to where they're gonna sit, and I feel somebody from behind me come up and put their arm around my shoulder. And I don't know anybody in this place, and I see the whole band in front of me, so I'm like turning around trying to see who's touching me. Do I need to get ready? It was a white guy, and he was at least a decade and a half older than me. Big smile. He says, "Man, I sure love your all's music." I said, "Thank you." I shook his hand, and he pointed at the stage and said, "I've seen this here band before, but I ain't never seen you. Where'd you come from?" And I explained to the guy, "Yeah, you probably did see them because they told me they played here. This is my first time. I just joined them." "Man, I sure love your piano playing. This is the first time I ever heard a black man play piano like Jerry Lee Lewis." I was not offended, but I was surprised because this guy was at least a decade and a half older than me. He should know the black origin of Jerry Lee Lewis's piano style. And I proceeded to tell him that Jerry Lee got the style from the same place I did, from black, blues, and boogie-woogie piano players. That's where that rock and roll, rockabilly style evolved. No, Jerry Lee invented that. I ain't never seen no black man play like that except for you. So I'm thinking, okay, well, dude never saw Little Richard or Fats Domino, because he only sees white artists. And so I said, "Look, man," I said, "I know Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee's a very good friend of mine. I've done many shows with him." He didn't believe me. I said, Jerry Lee's told me himself. And he didn't believe me, but he was so fascinated with me, he wanted me to come back to his table and let him buy me a drink. He pays the waitress, and he takes his glass and he clinks my glass and cheers me. He says, "This is the first time I ever sat down and had a drink with a black man." By this point in my life, I had sat down with tens of thousands of white people or anybody else and had a meal, a conversation, a beverage. How was it that this guy, 15 or so years older than me, had never sat down with a black guy before? And so I wasn't trying to be facetious. I was naive. I said, "Why?" Nothing was clicking right then, right? And he didn't answer me. He looked down at the table and he didn't say a word. I asked him again, and his buddy sitting next to him said, Tell him. I said, "Tell me, man." And he says, "I'm a member of the Ku Klux Klan." I burst out laughing at him.
Right, you thought he was kidding.
I thought he was kidding.
Yeah.
I know a lot about the Klan. And, in none of the books that I have to talk about how a Klansman will come up and embrace a black guy and want to hang out and buy him a drink. It doesn't work that way. Right. Or maybe hang out and put a rope around his neck, something like that, but not like, be congenial like that. So I'm laughing. He goes inside his pocket, pulls out his wallet, flips through it, hands me his membership card. I recognize the red circle with the white cross and blood drop in the center of the cross. Oh man, this thing is for real. This is not funny anymore. I stopped laughing. I give it back to him. And we talked about the Klan and other things. And he gave me his phone number and wanted me to call him whenever I was to come back to this lounge with this band, because he wanted to bring his friends, Klansmen and Klanswomen, to see, as he put it to me, the black guy who plays like Jerry Lee. I'm not sure if he called me the black guy to his friends, but that's how he called it to me, right? And so we got on a rotation with several other bands. Every 6 weeks we'd be there. I'd call him on a Wednesday or a Thursday and say, hey man, we're gonna be down at the Dollar this weekend, come on out. He'd come Friday and Saturday. He'd bring Klansmen and Klanswomen, not in their robes and hoods, right? Regular clothes. They'd come, they'd gather around the stage and watch me play with the band. They'd get out on the dance floor and dance, just like anybody else. And they'd go back to their tables. On the breaks, I'd make my way over to his table, thank him for coming, say hello. And most of the people that he brought would hang there. They were curious about me, but they'd never seen it either, right? A couple of them, though, would get up and walk across the room when they see me coming. So the message was, we just want to look at you. We don't want to touch you, shake your hand, talk to you, which is fine by me. That's their prerogative. And so that went on for a year. At the end of that year, I quit that band and I went back to playing rock and roll and whatever else. So I lost track of the guy. I had no reason to be in contact. It wasn't like, I had a day off. I'd go to Frederick and hang out with the Klan. So a few years later, it dawned on me, Daryl, you blew it, man. The answer to your question that's been plaguing you since the age of 10, it fell right into your lap. How can you hate me when you don't even know me? Music did that.
If I recall correctly, you've got over 200 pieces of paraphernalia.
Over 200 people have left that ideology, from the KKK, from the free agents, from the Nazis, alt-right, things like that. I have probably somewhere between 55 and 65 robes and hoods.
And just so we're clear, these are things that these people gave to you as a token of appreciation.
Yes, they gave it to me because they no longer believe in what it stood for.
Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you, my friend.